What up, Screen Fiends? I'm GB, and you're tuned in to Headz TV, where we like to discuss all the wonderful things appearing on your movie and your TV screens. In this episode, I'm going to give my review of American Gods, Season 1, Episode 7, titled A Prayer for Mad Sweeney. Okay, so A Prayer for Mad Sweeney. I really liked this episode for what it was. Now, was it the best episode of the series? Definitely not. Did I miss Shadow and Wednesday? Absolutely. But did I enjoy getting to see Mad Sweeney's backstory? Absolutely. Did I enjoy that the whole episode was essentially somewhere in America, one of those, like the opening scenes, basically this whole episode? Yeah, because those are some of my favorite parts of the episodes. But I did feel like this is the second to last episode. There's only one more left. So I did feel like this was a strange place to place. It was a strange placement for this episode because you would think with only 2 episodes left, they would want to start to ramp up the story a little, maybe a little bit more action, but they really haven't. Now, that's not taking away from my enjoyment of the show or this season, because I really still enjoy this season a lot, and I can't wait till it's over. When I binge watch the whole thing, I'm sure it'll be an even better experience the second time around. But I do feel like this episode should have been placed a little earlier in the season, even if only one episode earlier, just because of the nature of the episode and what it entails. All right, so let's just get into it. So this whole episode is basically about Mad Sweeney and Laura, and what I took to be as Laura's ancestry. So all right, let's start with like all of the flashback stuff. Now they say it's a Mad Sweeney origin, and it kind of is Mad Sweeney origin, because the whole point of it is that there's this peasant woman who believes in leprechauns and basically worships leprechauns, and then when things start to really get going good for her, she kind of eases back on the worship of the leprechauns, and then things get bad for her again. So it basically goes to show that gods are kind of fickle creatures, and if you stop appeasing them, they will stop rewarding you in return. And that's that's an interesting way of looking at gods, where it's basically like, oh yeah, what have you done for me lately? I like that. So I took it as that Irish peasant, not only because she was being played by Emily Browning, who is Laura, but I got a sense that she was just she has similar characteristics to Laura. So I know they didn't blatantly say it, but I take it as that Somewhere in America story of that Irish peasant woman was actually Laura's ancestors and how they came to be. How they came in America and all that. And she's one of the people that brings Mad Sweeney. So it all ties in. Now, I think that's interesting that her lineage is the one that brought Mad Sweeney to America. And now he's all tied up with her with the coin and everything. But we start to see more of a human side of Mad Sweeney, and I'll get to that a little bit later. But basically, we have, this peasant woman who's falls in love with a guy. He gives her a necklace, and then everyone else marks her as a thief, thinking she stole it. And then they approach the guy and ask if he gave it, and he's like, no, I didn't give it, scared of his mom or whatever. And it's a really interesting story. So, I like how they send their prisoners like to X amount of years at the sea, and then they have to work abroad and all that. And it's just a really interesting way of dealing with crime, to make someone suffer at sea and then basically become someone's indentured servant, which is just a nice way of saying a slave. I mean, a slave with privileges, I guess. And it was a very interesting storyline. Now, I got a lot from the main woman. I believe her name was Essie. She just felt like Laura to me, but like a separate character too, They just felt like they could have been cut from the same cloth, Essie and Laura. And I hope we get more clarification on this at some point, because I don't think they really made it clear. But I think by having Emily Browning play the both characters, I think that was kind of their like wink, wink, hint, hint. This is the same lineage here. So it was just an interesting storyline. I love the way it played out. I thought everything felt appropriate to its time, and the accents, to me at least, were on point, and the acting and everything totally believable. I honestly could have watched, basically it was the whole episode in that flashback, but I could have watched the whole episode in that flashback without getting any glimpses into the future. And it's interesting to see how she appeases the leprechaun is just not with much, a crumbs of bread, a little bit of milk, and every now and again a small offering of gold. And it's like you bought the luck of the Irish from the leprechauns with that little bit. And that's also interesting that it's not, this particular god anyway doesn't ask you to sacrifice much. He's asking you to sacrifice the bare minimum to basically get whatever riches he's going to bring you. So I just really enjoyed the way it was handled, the whole leprechaun thing, and with Essie and all of that. I really enjoyed the story. It felt very Lost to me for some reason. I really can't pinpoint why, but it did. It felt very much, if you ever watched the show Lost, it felt very much like it could have been something ripped out of that show, honestly. All right, and then we get the small stuff in present day. Let me just talk about some of the stuff that I really enjoyed about this. I love the flies hovering around Laura because, I think she's an attractive woman, and it's a reminder every now and again that, hello, she's dead, she's rotting, she probably stinks, and, it's probably not the most comfortable situation to be around her. And having the constant flies and the showing and the sounds coming from the flies, having that constantly throughout her scenes, I think helps add to the disturbing nature of the fact that she's basically the Walking Dead. I love that. I also really enjoyed how not only did they show us that Mad Sweeney is kind of a scumbag, how he caused Laura's accident when she was, pleasuring the best friend there, Dane Cook, but you also in like the very next scene or whatever get a sense of that he has compassion, and I don't know if it's that he knows Laura is from the same lineage as Essie, or if it's just they're showing that he has a human side to him. He even says he was a king once, so he was human once, I imagine, and he was cursed. And that's how he became a leprechaun. I that's what I took from the story. I didn't really look into it, read deep into it or anything, but that's what I took from the story, that he was a king who was cursed to become a leprechaun long before, fairies and all that, I guess, really existed or whatever. But I really enjoyed, I always have enjoyed the way the two of them play off each other. I was a little upset to see Samir go, and I didn't understand the circumstances in which he left, how he just ran away. Like, it was like he was under a spell, and then all of a sudden it was broken. Was it because of the coin that he, like it was like a spell from the coin that he joined their little group or something? I didn't really get that too much, but maybe I just missed something. I don't know. I've been going through a lot this weekend, so my head wasn't really all in everything as it usually is. So maybe I missed something there. But I really liked that, and I also liked how the ice cream truck is what she goes for because it's nice and cold, slows down her rotting process, and I like the way they showed that through like Mad Sweeney breathing like the cold air and all that. That was really cool. There was a couple of things I don't think I really cared for too much. I don't know. I guess it's not too big of a deal because I guess the way she stretched when she flew out of the truck ripped her stitches. I guess that's what that was. I don't know. When it first happened, I was like, I don't know about that. But then when they show it in slow motion and they show them like ripping, I guess it made sense. And then Mad Sweeney not taking the coin to me was big. Now, I don't know if you can look at it one of two ways. You could look at it as one, he's trying to keep Laura alive to help him get to where he's got to go. She is a formidable force in his companionship. I think he might actually have a little thing for Laura. So maybe that's what it is. Or it could be genuinely that he felt bad that he killed her once and he couldn't kill her again. At least he couldn't be responsible for it. And I think that's probably more likely what was going on, is that he didn't want to be responsible for her death again. And that's why they kind of show those scenes back to back, to give you that like night and day thing. And then we actually get confirmation that, you know, those crows, ravens, whatever, are actually Odin's pets. I mean, we all kind of knew that if you know the mythology anyway. But, you know, it's nice to get confirmation on those types of things. But that's really it. There was that's another thing I didn't like. Who swerves that like that to get away from a bunny? Come on, that was a little ridiculous. A deer or something big that you don't want to hit and cause all kinds of damage. All right, who swerves to the point of tipping their vehicle for a bunny? I don't know, but I didn't really like that too much. The bunnies, the bunnies play some sort of significance because of the way that they zoomed in on it and all that. I know one of the gods is named Easter, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Sounds like it might. And I feel like Mad Sweeney throwing all that gold out the window was like to appease whatever god they were close to, which probably is Easter. I mean, it makes sense, right? Bunnies, Easter, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I liked it. Look, it could have been better. I don't like the placement at all. If it was earlier in the season, I'd like this episode a lot more. But I really found myself enjoying the story of it, even though there wasn't tons and tons of action. But I liked it. Definitely wasn't my favorite of this season, but I really, like I said, enjoyed it. So, sound off down below. Let me know if you enjoyed this episode of American Gods. That's going to be Season 1, Episode 7. There's only one more left, so I'm really excited to see what the finale is going to hold. I have a feeling we may be disappointed in the finale, meaning we're not going to get much. Because, obviously they're trying to drag this out a couple of seasons and there's only so much story to tell. But, fingers crossed. So, definitely check back. There'll be a predictions video for the last episode up soon. And thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about the episode, what you think about my video, anything American Gods in general you want to discuss. I'm pretty good with getting back to my comments. So, engage me and we'll get into a nice discussion about it, I'm sure. All right, yep, that's it for this one. Thanks again for watching. It's always appreciated. You guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time.